Okay, the question is, and I'll add it in lettering. Well, probably not that because we wouldn't be able to read it at all. Add it in something English. How about Arial? I can read that. How to draw and add a 1/4 inch sewing line and a cut line when making 2 half square triangles blocks from 2 squares. So I'm assuming we're just going to cancel this. We're not going to make that. So this is how I'm going to answer this question. First of all, we're going to make a guide, and we are going to make a pen line that we are going to make about 6 inches long because I want it to be plenty long, and we are going to make it once we make it 6, we're going to disable resizing, and that makes it so we don't mess it up. And we're going to make the pen color, say, this bright green, and then we're going to add a border of a 1/4 inch. Now you don't want to change the size of the border. Disable resizing, because if we change the size of the border, change the size of it, it changes the size of the border and messes us up. Ask me how I know, because I've done it already. So now that's vertical, no, horizontal. Now we need to add vertical. So we're going to make we're going to also make a pen line, and we're going to make that green. Why the other one didn't end up green? Oh well. And then we're going to make this one also 6 inches, 6 inches the other way. Lock proportions, well, disable resizing, so we need. And then we're going to go back over here, add another border, square corners. Oh, I didn't change that color to green, that's why. Okay, so now we have 2 perpendicular lines. And what I want to do is select both of them by hitting Control, and now see how they're multiple selected, and we're going to, don't just want to group them, I want to weld them together. So now they're one piece, so they keep a 1/4 inch line, and then I can rotate them at 45 degrees, and you'll see how we can use them to make our 1/4 inch line. So now I'm going to zoom in. Now, before, when we were making our, we were wanting to make a sew across, make a line across a 3-inch square and sew across that 3-inch square. Stitch, 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 cut over here, and you have 1 half square triangle, and you've wasted this other half. The other thing you do is you draw a line across here, stitch over here, and stitch over here, but then you aren't left with 3 inches over here. So if you want to have a 3-inch side, not sample designs, that's not what we want. We want a 3-inch triangle. We want a triangle with a 3-inch side. So here's a triangle. See, it's got a 3-inch side. So here we have a 3-inch triangle, a triangle with a 3-inch side. Now, you know that there's a formula where you can add a certain amount to a square, and then that'll tell you how much, and then you make a line across the square, sew a 1/4 inch from each side, and then you cut down the middle, and then you trim it down to the whatever size you want. So what we can do here is rotate 45 degrees. If we put this on top, we can either put this on top or underneath the square, whichever way we want to do it. We're going to zoom in closer. We should probably move this down and this down here, where we have a better view. So this needs to line up right along this line. So basically this, no. Okay, let's go to this and disable resizing. So we're not going to change that 3-inch side. So this needs to, see how the center of this square runs right through the center of this line. Likewise, I wish my arrows would work in the right place on this dang computer. Well, maybe if I close that, then they move. No. So I need, let's move in more. So the center of this box that's perfect, and this is down just a little bit too much now. Okay, there we go. So now this is aligned perfectly. So now if we make a square that goes over the top of this, I'm going to change the color of this square here to, let's say, this color. And then what we need now is we need the other half of this, because we need to know how big to make the square. So this half of this is 3 inches, but we need the other half of the square. So we're going to duplicate this, and then what are we going to do? We're going to rotate it around. And now we need to set this on here so that this is right on that line, and this is right on this line. So the center of this square, see how this square is here? Line that square up so that this line is right on that square, and this line is right on this square. Now, that is the perfect size square. And now we can come around and lay this square on top of this square, enlarge this square so it fits perfectly. Is that right? This looks lined up on those little arrows, and this looks lined up on those little arrows. Pretty dang close, I think. Pretty good. Too far? Perfect. That's it, perfect. Nope. Bring to front. I think it's pretty good. Okay, so if we're on this, move that to the back. And we want the green square, which we can't see because it's at the back. It might just be a little too small. There we go. Okay, I think green square is perfect now. What size is it? Let's see. 3.37. So this is 0.37 bigger than 3, which sounds just about right. So if we draw a line here, and so here, and so here, and we will have a perfect 3-inch on each side. Now you can make whatever size triangle you want, and it will be that way. Now, what you want to do is you want to take and add a vertical line, zoom out, because we need to make a vertical line that's probably about 3.5 and rotate it 45 degrees. No, undo that. Start with our first vertical line, make it 3.5, rotate it 45 to, well, we wanted the other 45, this 45. Disable resizing will make it easy for us to move it over. Because we want that to fit perfectly in the center. So this is our, so what color? This is going to be a pen line, and this is going to be a fabric pen, and this is going to be our cut line once we've sewn sewn it together. And then we need to make a duplicate of this, and we're going to change the color of this to a different color, say red, and that one's going to move over here. I'm going to bring this to the front. It needs to be smaller. It's going to fit right there, and we're going to duplicate it and rotate it around 90 degrees twice and bring it down here, and those are going to be our stitching lines. Does that make sense to you? Should be right on top of the purple line. So if you delete the board, we don't need the purple triangle, so we can delete that, and we can delete the other purple triangle, and those should be right on top of those black lines from our So those look like, if we move this down, see how this is, those should be exactly right. So we don't need this, but what I would suggest is that you save that. I should have done that in the first place. But we save that so that we have that, so that we can use that again the next time we need it. So now you have a cut. This is a cut. See, here's a cut. And then this is 3-inch. So these will be 3-inch triangles with, once you've sewn them, and then here's your sewing line, and then here's your cutting line. So I hope that is answering the question that we had. Thank you very much. Now you can do that with whatever, you can use this with whatever size triangle you want. So let's do this again. Let's merge these all together. Come on, be friendly. We'll meld these, weld those together. Come on, be friendly. Why are they being that way? I don't know why it is when I'm trying to show something, it doesn't want to do that. Well, at least they're grouped. All right, so we have that grouped. We can hide that down in the corner. Oh, I put it out of the screen, so the backup so that it's not, so that it's on the, all right. See how that turned, that meant it was out of the screen. So these are 6 inches, so I think we can still make a 4-inch, a triangle with a 4-inch side. So let's try that. So we're gonna go in and we're gonna make a 4-inch, a triangle with a 4-inch side. Disable resizing. I find that it's nice to use. Now remember, we're going to zoom in so we can see this. Lay this right on top of here. This needs to go down through the center. You can move this to the back if that makes it easier so you can see where it belongs. I find it easier to have the triangle on the top though. And that looks like that's just about right. If it helps, you can turn this into a pen or score or something like that, where it doesn't have any fabric in the middle. Now I did have the question, what's the difference between print and pen? Print is when you print it on your printer. Pen is when it's going to be a pen that you're going to be putting in your memento. Cut is when you're using a cutting blade. Perforated cut is when you're going to be cutting a dotted, not a solid cut, but a scored cut. Score is when you're just going to be scoring it. Engrave, engracing, deboss, I can't really explain it to you. And guide, a whole nother thing. but pen just gives you an opening. So that makes it easier to see where to line this up. And if you need a bright color like green, come on you, something like that where you can really see what you're doing. Make the marker fatter. Use a 3.5 marker so it's a little fatter so you can see it. Okay, so see that looks like it's on top of it. You want it to be on top of it, not beside it. And this needs to be running down the middle of it, and that looks like that's right. So now remember, we're going to duplicate this, and then we're going to rotate it. Rotate twice 90. One is halfway. Okay, there it is. And now, did I mess up? Okay, there it is. I couldn't see it because it's not. So now see how the point of the square is down that line, and this is right on the line. It probably is easier to see when you don't have the fabric in there, to tell you the truth, I feel like. This object in the middle here, that's center of rotation. So if you're rotating it, it's going to rotate around that point. Just in case you wanted to know that particular fact. So now that gives us our square. So if we add our square now that we're going to want to cut, what size do we think it's going to be? It's going to be 4 something, but we need to put that behind so that we can actually see where to pull it out to. Not quite. Just a little short. Pretty good, I think. Yep, pretty exact. Alright, what size do you guys think it's going to be? I think it's going to be 4.347, so just, oops. Come on now, don't be that way. This is 3.39. Huh, interesting. And this is 4.347. Interesting. So you would want to send this all the way to the back. Move to back. And it looks like we're good, exactly. So now we want to put we need vertical line, the lines for the 45-degree lines for our stitching. Cutting and stitching lines. One goes here. No, these are not cut. We're there. Remember, we need to change them to pen. Why is everything not wanting to be cooperative? And remember, we want to change them to color, duplicate, move it over here. Okay, those must look the right size, and then we need one for the middle. Just use this one. I'm just going to change the color of it to green, I guess. Undo. I think I didn't duplicate it. So I have two yellow ones. And then I'm going to make one more. And we need to take out, remember now, come on you, don't be difficult. We don't need this triangle. We don't need this triangle. We do need this, we do need this, and we do need this, and we don't need that here anyway. So then you would want to select this, this, and this together, and group them, and then you can cut them. I am not 100% sure why it doesn't want to let me weld them together. But in any case, there you have it. So hopefully that's helpful. Thanks for watching.